You've made that smile 100 times. Lips tight, corners up, gone in about a second. The one you use when you're absolutely not fine. Your dog was in the room for every one of them. And after 2 decades of research into how dogs read human faces, almost nobody has tested them on the expression humans fake most. So the answer scientists have stumbled into is stranger than a clean yes or no. Your dog probably does know something is wrong with you, just not from your face. This isn't a heartwarming story about how much your dog understands you. It's an evidence story, and the evidence keeps splitting into two halves that people constantly confuse: detecting a difference and knowing what that difference means. Hold on to that: detecting versus decoding. Everything below sits on one side or the other. Most owners would answer without pausing. Of course he knows. He always knows. The laboratory version of that claim is much narrower and much stranger. Picture a dog alone in a quiet room, facing a touchscreen. Two photographs of the same human face appear side by side, one happy, one angry. The dog learns to touch the happy one for a reward. Straightforward enough. Then the test changes. New faces the dog has never seen. And not even whole faces, just the upper half, or just the mouth region, floating on the screen with no context at all. Trained dogs in this kind of setup have gone on sorting those fragments better than chance. Two layers here, and they're easy to collapse into one. On the surface, a dog reading a smile. What the evidence actually supports: dogs can learn the visual signature of a happy human face versus an angry one, generalize it to strangers, and recover it from a scrap of a face. That's a perceptual skill. The dog passed the test. The test was never about feelings. Then researchers pushed harder, because a shape on a screen is a low bar. In cross-modal work, dogs were shown an emotional face while a sound played, a human voice with a friendly tone or a harsh one, in a language the dog had no experience with. When the tone matched the face, dogs tended to look longer. That matters because matching information across two different senses is a hint that something is being represented internally, not just recognized as a pattern. The dog wasn't only seeing an expression, it seemed to expect a particular sound to come with it. And here's where the whole special bond between dogs and humans theory quietly falls apart. Because it turns out it isn't just dogs. Meet the goats. Goats have been living beside humans for thousands of years and have never been bred to stare lovingly into our eyes. In studies where goats were offered photographs of the same unfamiliar person, once smiling, once scowling, they showed a preference for exploring the happy face. Barn animals, reading our faces. Which reframes the whole question. Sensitivity to human expressions may be less about a dog's unique devotion, and more about what happens to any species that spends millennia in the presence of human faces. So before we go further, place your bet. If your dog really does catch your fake smile, is it because the face itself looks wrong to them, or because something else about you is giving you away? And this is where every study on dog emotion recognition quietly runs into a wall. Because a fake smile isn't an angry face. It isn't a negative expression at all. It's a genuine smile with one component missing: the muscle ring around the eye that most people can't voluntarily contract. That's why forced smiles look flat in photographs. Humans, for the record, are mediocre at spotting the difference in each other. And as far as the published record goes, the clean version of that experiment, genuine smiles versus posed smiles, dogs choosing between them, hasn't really been run. That's the honest position. The exact question in the title has never properly been asked, which means the real answer was never in your face at all. It was leaking out of your skin the whole time. Stress changes your chemistry, not metaphorically. Shifts in the compounds coming off your skin and out of your breath, measurable in the minutes after a stressor. In several studies, dogs have been trained to pick out samples taken from people under stress and distinguish them from samples taken from the same people while calm. Sweat and breath. No faces involved, no voices, no body language. And it gets stranger. More recent work suggests it goes past detection. Dogs exposed to stress odor collected from strangers became measurably more cautious in decision-making tasks, leaning toward the pessimistic option. They didn't just register it, it changed how they made choices. You can arrange the muscles in your face. You cannot arrange your sweat. There's a supporting piece too. Dogs keep score on our reliability. In experiments where a person points to a container that turns out to be empty, dogs are noticeably less willing to follow that same person's pointing afterwards. They're not just responding to signals, they're tracking whether our signals match reality. So does your dog know you're faking a smile? Almost certainly not in the sense you have in mind. There's no evidence a dog holds the thought that you're performing an emotion you don't feel. That requires a model of deception nobody has demonstrated in a dog. What the evidence supports is a limited form of mismatch detection. Your friendly face arrives at the same moment as your tightened voice, your stalled movement, your altered smell. Those inputs stop agreeing with each other. Something in the room fails to add up. Detection without decoding. Your dog notices. Your dog cannot tell you what it noticed, and probably doesn't know either, which leads to something smaller and odder than the question we started with. The next time you do it, the polite smile at the door for a neighbor, leash still in your hand, your dog probably isn't studying your teeth at all. The thing it has access to is the hand that never loosened on the leash, the breath sitting high in your chest, and the moment 2 seconds later when your face drops back down and you exhale. Your dog isn't reading your smile, it's reading the 2 seconds after it. So which way did you bet, the face or the sweat? Drop it in the comments, I actually read them. And if this is the kind of animal question you like, the ones where the honest answer turns out to be partly, the next one is already up. It's about why your cat suddenly stares at nothing for 40 seconds and then sprints across the room like something's chasing it. The answer isn't ghosts, it's in their eyes. Subscribe, and I'll see you there.